Through the generous contribution of Dr. Lewis's family, we're very fortunate to be able to share with you these timeless recordings of Dr. M. W. Lewis, a self-realized American yogi. Dr. Lewis was Paramahansa Yogananda's first American disciple and dearest personal friend. The wisdom Dr. Lewis imparts through these teachings will give you a dynamic and practical insight into the ancient science of yoga as taught by Paramahansa Yogananda. This lecture's title is Follow the Path of the Great Ones, and was delivered in San Diego, California on October 26, 1958.
Subject this morning, follow the path of the great ones. Follow the path of the great ones. To follow the great ones necessitates that we know the purpose and goal of life, because they surely have known it, and they have followed. And if we are to emulate them, we too must know the purpose of this life. Then it'll take on an entirely different aspect. For instance, God, the one eternal consciousness and substance from which all things have come, wanted to be many to enjoy himself. And so he created all of us souls and all the things of the universe upon universe. But he wanted us not to forget our immortal nature, as we enjoyed or do enjoy this creation of his. But the fact that we forget it, we miss the goal of life, you see, by being attached to this drama. And therefore, we miss carrying out what we truly are, his children, divine in nature, as well as human beings. Now the saints have found that out. They have not lost the realization that they are one with God just the same in this drama of life. It's difficult because, as the Gita says, all men walk the earth wholly deluded. But then it goes on further to say, get out of that delusion. Now the saints have gotten out, and we too must get out. Otherwise we will never be free, we'll never be peaceful and blissful. We will never have fulfillment until we get out of this delusion and follow the great ones who have superseded this worldly consciousness. And so, during the lifetime of great saints and spiritual leaders, they have done a remarkable thing by getting out of this strong delusion, but they are seldom appreciated until they've gone, because people are so engrossed in this delusion. And so they usually come. Their mission is to start, so to speak, a new era, because people have lost the desire for truth. They've fallen away from spiritual truth. And so these avatars and great ones come to instigate a new approach to the same eternal truth. And you'll find out all the great ones, if you read their lives, they spoke the same truth, but the approach perhaps was different. And so they come for that purpose. And because they come for that purpose, because there is a lack of interest in spiritual truth, and people are following these outward forms of religion, they are not taken to very well. They do not usually conform to the ordinary form of religion. But that doesn't mean that they do not have truth. And so that's why the great ones come. St. Francis, he was one of the greatest ones. He felt that no matter what happened to him, that he must feel the joy of God. And only then, when he felt that joy of God, were things tolerable for him. And whatever happened to him, he felt it was the gift of God, and no matter what it was reason to be joyous. Now, can we take that attitude toward life? We have to. But if you can do it, and realize that what comes to you is a gift of God, no matter what it is, you will be joyous, you will be blissful, and you will know truth. St. Francis, as I understand, reading about him, talking to the Master, he had a difficult time with his body. But that didn't stop him from being joyful and filled with joy. Why? Because he realized something that perhaps the ordinary run of people do not realize, that God is bliss, God is joy, and God is peace. Having that, he had all things in spite of his trials and tribulations. And so, let us understand that one thing, that self-realization fellowship, which attempts to lead its members to follow and emulate the great ones, and especially the founder of self-realization fellowship, Paramhansa Yogananda, they suggest a balanced life. We must have a balanced life. That is, we must have an active life outwardly, but it must be for the purpose of pleasing God. That's the only thing. We must be actively outward, otherwise we atrophy. And on the other hand, being spiritual beings, we must meditate regularly and sustain that spiritual part of us. That's what self-realization fellowship teaches. And its teachings and its techniques point to that end, to give you, enable you to lead a balanced life, outwardly active, inwardly calm, and meditation, which is so essential for each and every one of us because of our nature. Self-realization fellowship will give you that, those who follow its teachings. Even as the Gita says, Krishna says, though I have all things, yet I work on. Krishna was an avatar, an incarnation of God. And though God has all things, he came as the form of Krishna, he was busy. And so we must emulate God, so to speak, even though we would like sometimes to sit down and just meditate upon him and become lazy. But we must not do that. We must be active outwardly, following the example of the great Krishna, representing God who has all things, yet God is busy with his universe and comets and all sorts of things he has. He's active. So must we be active. But one part of